July 22, 1991. Milwaukee police stepped inside a small one-bedroom apartment, expecting a routine disturbance call. What they found would shock the world. A human head in the fridge, skulls in the closet, photographs of dismembered bodies, posed, preserved, documented. The man behind it all? A soft-spoken 31-year-old named Jeffrey Dahmer. This is the true story of the man neighbors called quiet, but history would call a monster. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Early 1990s. A working-class city in America's heartland, where people left their doors unlocked and neighbors knew each other's names. But not all neighborhoods felt safe. Many of Dahmer's victims came from the city's Black, Latino, and LGBTQ+ communities. Young men trying to survive, juggling jobs, identity, and survival in a world that didn't always see them. Anthony Hughes, a deaf man who dreamed of becoming a model. Conrad Synthesophone, just 14 years old, still in middle school. Tony W., Jeremiah W., Richard G. Names lost to silence until the screams finally broke through. They didn't know each other, but they all walked through the door of apartment 213 and never walked out. Dahmer's method was calculated. He cruised local bars and bus stations, looking for young men who were alone, struggling, or simply kind enough to trust him. He lured them in with offers of $50 for photos, or just a drink and conversation. Once inside, the pattern was always the same. He'd drug their drinks, wait until they passed out, then he would kill them, usually by strangulation. Quiet, controlled. But death was only the beginning. Dahmer dismembered the bodies, sometimes photographing every step. He preserved parts in jars, kept skulls as trophies. In one horrifying case, he drilled into a victim's skull and injected acid, attempting to create a living zombie. He wasn't just killing. He was trying to control love, to make his victims stay forever. For years, Dahmer evaded suspicion. He was white, polite, didn't raise alarms. Even when neighbors complained about foul smells and loud noises, authorities brushed it off. Until one man survived. Tracy Edwards, a 32-year-old black man, met Dahmer on July 22, 1991. Dahmer invited him back to his apartment. Something fell off immediately. The smell, the padlocked bedroom, the box of knives. Then Dahmer handcuffed him. Edwards managed to escape. He ran, barefoot and terrified, through the streets until he flagged down 2 police officers. They returned to the apartment with him. And what they found was unspeakable. Inside the fridge, a human head. In drawers, photographs of dismembered bodies, posed like art. In the freezer, hearts, hands, organs. The case was cracked open, and the public was stunned. Jeffrey Dahmer confessed, in chilling, emotionless detail. He didn't deny anything. He said he killed to avoid loneliness, that he wanted his victims to stay with him, in death if not in life. He admitted to 17 murders between 1978 and 1991, but his remorse felt hollow. He told detectives, "I feel bad for what I did, but I couldn't stop." The victims' families were shattered. They weren't just mourning sons and brothers, they were mourning trust. Many believed the victims would still be alive if the police had taken their concerns seriously sooner, especially when Conrad Synthesophone escaped, only to be returned to Dahmer by officers who assumed it was a lover's dispute. Investigators were horrified. One officer described the apartment as a nightmare you can't wake up from. Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in February 1992. But justice was short-lived. Just over 2 years into his sentence, he was killed by a fellow inmate, Christopher Scarver, in November 1994. Some saw it as karma. Others saw it as an ending far too easy. But the case left a deeper scar. It raised questions about race, policing, and the invisibility of certain victims. If these young men had been white, straight, or wealthy, would the system have listened? Today, the name Jeffrey Dahmer still sends shivers. Books have been written, documentaries filmed, even a Netflix series. But at the center of it all are 17 young men, real people with dreams and families whose lives were stolen by someone no one suspected. This is more than a horror story. It's a story about what happens when monsters wear masks, and no one pays attention. If this story stayed with you, don't forget to subscribe for more chilling true crime cases, each one stranger than fiction. Because in the world of the unsolved and the unexplained, the truth is often the most terrifying thing of all.